right, Coach. So a couple of big wins for us, both by double digits this weekend, by 12 against Ferris, and then by 15 against Lake State on Sunday. What stood out to me, one of the things from this weekend, is that a lot of the younger guys in the rotation are coming into their own. They're playing more minutes. They're showing a lot of progress. Can you talk about some of the progress that you've been seeing from a lot of our freshmen and redshirt guys this year?
Yeah, I think we saw all the signs coming. We saw them even as soon as last year with some of the red shirts. But I always think Christmas time is one of those key pivotal moments to a season, in that you get a little bit more practice for really the first time after the start of the season where you can get some things fixed. And then also it seems like the time when freshmen kind of become almost sophomores, especially the freshmen that have played a lot, because they're no longer new. They've adjusted. They're figuring things out. And, I always think coming out of Christmas break is usually when freshmen start kind of breaking out. Maybe we just got it a week early. Maybe that was earlier, 2 weeks early. Maybe that was an early Christmas present. Not entirely clear. But at the same time, I'm really happy with how they've been progressing and working. And again, we've seen it, but I think this was the first time in games where, Sam and Joshi, I thought, were unbelievable, especially against Lake State. And obviously that gives our team a pretty good punch. And when we're adding two guys that have started a ton of games coming out of Christmas break at the big guy spot, it's going to be interesting because we'll go from feeling like we didn't have any depth at the big guy spot to, between improvements and additions, we're going to have quite a bit of depth coming out of break. So should be exciting for us and hopefully a good sign of things to come.
Another highlight from that Ferris win. I know you're excited about this one too. 20 assists from you guys on that Ferris win, and Majkrzak had 10 of them.
Yeah.
But just talk about the way you guys were able to facilitate that.
Yeah, and then the next night we had 22, so 20 in both games. That's been my biggest frustration with this team is I've never really coached a team that I would call ISO heavy, and when you have Max and Brian, you're going to do some of that. But I thought we maybe over-relied on it, which wasn't those two's fault. It was kind of a probably my fault more than anyone else, but our team wasn't playing great team basketball. We were really just relying on individuals to carry us. I thought this weekend we looked like a really good basketball team. The ball was popping. The ball was moving. We challenged Brian this week and just said, you were and have always been one of the best pure point guards I've ever coached. He hasn't been that early in the year. He's been an unbelievable scoring guard and awesome. But I thought he can combine those two things and still be an unbelievable scoring guard, but then add in all the assists and playmaking in that. And I thought this weekend was kind of the pinnacle of that is, I'm very happy that Max won his third straight GLIAC Player of the Week. Realistically, this week, it probably should have been Brian because I thought he was our best player in both games. And, again, not to Max is Max. Max creates everything for everyone else with his scoring and movement and all that. But I just thought Brian was unbelievably lights out this weekend and, really, really good.
So with all that sharing of the ball, obviously 20 assists both nights, kept the turnovers down too. Teams shot over 50% with both games. Now, we talked about how these were big in the sense that these are the teams that were ranked 1, 2, and 3 in the preseason polls coming in. So with these wins against these teams that are expected to be contenders come March, do you feel like the Cats have proven when they're on, they can run with anybody?
Yeah, and I honestly I didn't have a ton of doubt that we could going into the year just because of how we finished last year and knowing how this team stacks up versus last year's team. But the Duluth win was a very early sign. The sweep of McKendree Lewis, I knew we could do that. What I'm hoping and what I'm thinking is we're starting to maybe find a little more consistency where it's not going to be big win, bad loss on back-to-back nights. And we've had that a couple times now. And, I think the messaging has been we're good enough offensively that we are going to be a good team. But to be a great team, we have to get better at defense. And our offense maybe needs to be more consistent, which is where the passing comes in. And I thought, the over 50% in both games, I thought we guarded both teams pretty well. Both games at the end, we got up pretty comfortably, and they'd thrown a bunch of buckets at the end when it was, I'm not going to say meaningless, but the outcome was not in a ton of doubt, and we have to get better at closing those games. But at the same time, I didn't think that we were just getting shelled the whole game like we have in the past at times. And, I thought we forced some turnovers and did some other things that led to some of our offensive success too. So our defense has been a very steady, boring climb from absolutely awful to or maybe getting to average. And I think if we can get to even above average with how good our offense is, that's going to make our team pretty good.
That's what I want to talk about was the timely defense, I guess more specifically, and like what that allows you guys to do is just go on these runs where your offense can shine and the defense obviously inhibits all of that. I think a good example was the run you went on at the end of the first half against Ferris to really take back control of that game. So talk about, like I said, what that allows your offense to do.
Yeah, and I think a big part of the runs have been, having a little more depth now. It allows you to sub, and rather than everyone being tired, we're able to get back to playing faster with how much these young guys have improved. And then, just like you said, we're at our best when we're getting stops because then we can get out and run. And with all the shooting we have and the speed we have in the open floor, we're pretty good. And the biggest problem is we haven't gotten enough stops to be able to get out in the open floor. And I actually kind of liked our defense this weekend. Some of the numbers might not be perfect, but I thought we took both teams out of their rhythm, both teams out of their flow. We made both of their offenses, who are incredibly good, look a little choppy. Now, they still had some success, but at least it wasn't the kind of success that I think they want to have. Both teams, assist-wise, I think we're in the single digits, so we kind of made them both into ISO heavy while we started sharing the ball more, and that's what we're trying to do. And this was really the first weekend I thought that happened in that way.
Talk about breaking the pressure from Ferris too, that full court they have pride there, forcing your guys up the sideline, trying to get them into traps, and maybe not the most complicated scheme ever, but it works in certain situations. So how did it force you guys to change or evolve for the course of that one?
Yeah, so we kind of knew Ferris wasn't going to stop. They don't stop. They haven't stopped. And, I think every now and then someone does to them what we did. And there were even people watching the game that were like, why are they keep pressing you? And selfishly, I was really grateful they kept pressing us because I thought our guards are, too good to be pressed. Especially, when we had the speed advantage at so many spots. But the flip side of that is they do that every night, and they've won the conference title, I don't know, like 6 of the last 7 years or something, even more than that. So it clearly works, and I think their biggest thing is they're trying to wear you down. And by the end of the game, I was ecstatic it ended. I didn't want that to go any longer because our guys were gassed, having to just break their relentless pressure over and over and over again. But I thought they did an unbelievable job of, not turning it over while still being aggressive. I think that's the hardest part is sometimes you're so worried about being careful that you don't play aggressive. And I thought we were both careful and aggressive against them, which, is something we've done against them before. But that might have been the cleanest we've ever done it. And we're starting 4 guards right now, and all 4 of them are, have point guard skills to some degree. And even Dylan is a guard, a big guard, a wing, but he's not like a traditional big guy. So I think uniquely we match up well against presses and zones and some of that other stuff.
So we've touched on it a few times, but with the break coming up, how's that going to help the Cats depth-wise, injury-wise? We saw it just for a moment, but we saw Duty out there on Sunday, which was great. So obviously I know Sam's been coming off an injury as well. How's the break going to help these guys get back in?
Yeah, it's exciting for us. So Jackson only had 2 practices heading into the game, so he was cleared, but we didn't feel super comfortable putting him out there for long stretches. He helped us get 1 stop. He actually made the play to get the stop, which was awesome to see. He's back, and he's very good, very talented, would for sure be in the rotation had he been here all year. Sam Schultz is going to be back. It's just now it's for sure after Christmas. It's just a question of whether this week we get anything from him. And then, Ben Wolf, who has been a key player for us the last 3 years, is going to be back at semester. So all of a sudden our big guys went from having no experience in the league to not only have we gotten these 3 freshmen a bunch of experience, but we're adding 2 guys that have started a ton of games. Pretty much every game since I've been here, one of the 2's been starting and the other one's been the backup. So really excited to add that depth, and I think that we got to be careful because when you're trying to merge new pieces, we got a lot of good chemistry thing going. It's not going to be super easy, but I'm thankful for the timing because I think over break is a great time to try to incorporate those new guys back in and really see if we can take a jump. And we've talked about that on and off again, but I thought last year we made the biggest jump of anyone in the country from first semester to second semester, 3-7 first semester, 15-5 second semester. This year, if we can handle this week, we could be going in as good as 10-3. If you can make the same jump, that'd be good.
Well, like you said, Coach, breaks on the horizon. The timing of which is great for the Cats. But first, like you said, got to take care of business. Lawrence coming to the house on Wednesday, Finlandia on Sunday. Your thoughts on these matchups?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Division III teams. When my first year we lost a Division III team, I'll certainly never forget that. It was, I was real fun to be around that Christmas, and I never want to feel like that again. So it's not something we take lightly. I thought we played some of our best basketball last year against Concordia, so a different Division III school, but also another good Division III school, and then Finlandia. And I thought those two games really helped our momentum and helped get some guys going, and were very, very important for us. And I thought last year we played those games as hard as we played any game all season. That's a challenge. If we really want to be as good as I think we might be or could be, you don't have the opportunity to go into any game and not play low turnover, super hard, share the ball, get some stops, run. Like this isn't let's try some things or get some guys going. It's win and win by as much as we can, each possession at a time. And I think that's a challenge that, again, our guys last year took seriously. I haven't seen them since Sunday. I'll see them here in a little bit, and plan on sharing that as I expect to play well and keep our momentum rolling.